Here we are. We are back with episode 18 of The Pit. This is our first episode after the return from the Katana Lan. And today we are joined by our first two-time special guest.
Two, baby.
Yeah, two, baby. And it is Deeks EU. We all know him, the 22 Esports owner. We're going to be running over Elite Season 1 for 22 Esports, their Katana Lan appearance, and some interesting roster announcements. How are we, Deeks? How are we feeling, my man?
I'm good, mate. I'm blessed to be the only back-to-back guest, mate. I appreciate it.
Well, I mean, when there's so many storylines around your roster and you causing such a stir
know,
on the
man.
scene, it kind of schedules itself, mate. So, I mean...
So much drama, bro. So much drama, man.
I mean, we love it, and it's great for brand exposure, isn't it?
We've been in the mix, bro. I tell you, it's been crazy.
I love it. So, I mean, we'll dive straight into segment one. I mean, we'll start with the most impressive thing from this season. Segment one is going to be the Modern Warfare 3 EU Elite Stage 1. I mean, let's start with the movie that was qualifiers, shall we?
Oh my god, bro.
Qualifiers, your winners round one, you end up playing Maple, Disarray, Foodsy, and Furious.
I mean, what team to get winners round one, because when you get an elite, right, and you get the amount of pro points that you build up, especially with the placing they got at Boston to get the pro points, that is not a team you want to get winners round one. When you looked at the teams, that were in that elite qualifiers, bro, we're just like, for fuck's sake. I mean, obviously you're still confident in the team, and the boys S&D up to the elite was looking flawless. Like, we were watching 2Ks, seeing the scoreboards come out of Boston and things like that in the S&D, and we were thinking, holy shit, are we a Nezo team? Maybe if we nick an S&D, take the control, maybe we can take it to the distance. Well, actually, no, winners round one was best of 3, was it? Or was it best of 5?
No, I think they're all best of 5s, if my memory serves me correct. Yeah. But who knows? We'll face it. I mean, who knows? It could have well been. I think they were best of 5s.
So you don't want to put any bad juju on the team. You're confident either way, no matter who you got to play what's in front of you, right? But to get that round one was okay, well, this might be a long weekend.
So I mean, straight away when I looked at it, I was like, respectfully, yeah, they're going down to losers, and I was looking at the potential run, and I was like, if they win that losers round one, then this is very doable. And that losers round one, you ended up 3-0 at zero remorse. And I mean, that qualified you for day 2. How confident were them lads after that result?
Well, I feel like any situation, any 2K you play, any event you play, getting that first win is just so important for not only, I don't know you call it nerves, but just the momentum, right, in these events. So for them to get the win, the losers round one win, just knows that, okay, no matter who we go into now, we're hot, we're shooting, we've just come off a win, the vibes are good. So ideally, whoever's in front of you loses round 2, you're coming into it in the best possible position you can. Which is why I think you see so many teams make these runs in losers.
Yeah.
Because there's such a momentum builder, and you play more regularly in losers. So as I think, mate, some of these delays or the waiting time in the winners bracket sometimes is just long. So actually for our team to be, because I think we showed all up to that point, once we got hot as a team, you were confident you can take on anyone. So yeah, winning that first one was massive. And then obviously, I mean, we're looking at losers round 2 again, thinking this is a winnable series. Bit of controversy, as we well know, with us not having to play that series. But yeah, a bit of a wild story there, as we all saw on the timeline.
Yeah, you were meant to play La Curva in losers round 2. They end up getting forfeited from the entire thing due to some racist comments from a player on the timeline against Twiz specifically. So then, they got forfeited. So they'd actually qualified for the event, and they beat their qualification run against K2 Esports due meant to play. But then that result got turned. K2 qualified. The Curva then drop into losers round 2. You then get the bye into LR3, and then I mean, it didn't even stop there. We might as well just get straight into it. You ended up playing.
Oh my God,
who you played, Newt and Co. That was right in a
Yeah.
losers round thing. I think the team name was like Vueta or whatever. You know, we can clip
Valletta
that. That's
Esports
just
Owners,
yeah, a word I can't say as ever. But yeah, and then after you
Yeah.
lose a series, after the series, Newt was then found with hacks on his PC. After this, roster was accused of cheating all year. Like this
My
man was
God, bro.
banned on GB like before. But I mean, what was the feeling after qualifying like in that just crazy nature of that LR2 and LR3 game?
Well, you was like, I think you was around in the calls like after, because like you lose a series, right? I think especially when you lose it in the circumstances that we did, where you are just like can't for you. I think you know when someone's cheating, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I know in this scene, accusations get thrown around a little bit too easily. Maybe sometimes there's not enough. It's just one really maybe weird clip that can happen. You can get bad timing, and a clip can be turned into the narrative of a clip can be used as though you're cheating. So obviously after losing, you don't want to be making excuses. You don't want to be like, oh, we lost to hackers and you know, um, that we were bullshitting or anything like that. But I think watching the series and seeing the amount of stuff that we saw come out after it, it was just like, what is going on? This is quite blatantly cheating. What was that? I think the first thing for me, bro, didn't the guy have like his monitor cam? He picked up his monitor cam and he looked it down onto the floor, right? I mean, I'm gonna do it, right? I'm gonna do it. He puts the monitor cam and his leg is like twisted, which clearly shows that he's on a second monitor.
yeah. No,
And
mate.
it's like, what is this guy doing? And he's there, um, money camming the whole series. He's on Twitter. He's like, no, I'm not cheating. I'm not cheating. And it's like, okay, well, obviously, because you've just got a qualified spot, I think a lot of a lot of the qualified teams want to obviously check it out. So we're just sat in this call. We're not even. I don't even think we're looking back on the series as if like. I mean, the guys were doing VOD review. That's how like passionate these boys are, right? They were reviewing the game, not going over the trying to find proof. They were just genuinely going over their performance and seeing what they could have done to improve. Because I think you've got to do that when you lose, just sort of get straight into the VOD review, don't you, and
100%.
see what happened. But obviously, as they're doing the VOD review, they're like, okay, this is weird, and then okay, this is weird, and there's just so many things start to pile up, so that it became necessary to obviously raise it with the admins of Face It, which I mean that's a story in itself, bro. Like, you
Need
know,
another podcast.
yeah, we do, don't we? Don't we? It's just the how easily dismissive they were of the entire thing was just outrageous. Like we've just sent you again, yeah. You know, if we sent those clips in, if we just sent one of those clips in, it's not. Maybe it's a bit, you know, coincidental, might not be used. But when you start stacking all these things up, everybody and their mum knew that something was dodgy. So obviously, because they actually qualified and probably their teammates were trying to, get him cleared, they don't want any controversy on their own qualification. They get him PC checked, and I think the video proof that Sleep had up on his YouTube is about 40 minutes, and it's only the last. I think he's going through it, isn't he? And he's not really finding anything.
Yeah.
Nothing's obviously popping out until I think he just goes on his history and just literally searches cheats, and then it's just a stream of websites he's been on, and then it matches up. The timestamps match up to him using a program right before the game. So it's just like, okay, come on, at this point, what are we doing? We need to be something needs to happen here because there's clearly you're cheating in a massive tournament.
I mean, it was
So yeah,
4K as well. Like
four
it
K,
was 4K. They found the exe file literally running multiple times since the
bro.
date you downloaded
d-
it. Like it was all there, and then they were like, "Oh, we're not going to accept
yeah,
external PC checks because we didn't
external
authorize the
piece.
PC check." Like, what do you
The
want,
the bloke,
mate?
yeah, the bloke disappeared. If
He
that's not,
deleted his Twitter straight away. Like
yeah,
he's not here to
my
play
guy,
the elite
yeah,
quals, mate.
no,
Like they're not
no,
turning up.
my guy was like, okay, yeah, you caught me, fair enough. I'll see you later. I'm coming back on an ult. You know what I mean? Like, so obviously we're like a day later. They said obviously they're reviewing it, kept getting that answer. I mean, I'm pretty sure like a whole 24 hours passed. Um, and then it was just, I think I saw the first tweet I saw was yours actually, because I wasn't in the call at the time, and it was just 22 esports have qualified. following, Violetta's being disqualified, and it was just like, holy shit, like we've actually we've done it, So
Oh, I mean, Twitter
it's
as
in
well.
true 22 fashion, mate. We've made our way to a fucking an
Uh,
elite. It's kind of unreal.
in an absolute movie, yeah, the Twitter thing. Like, were you surprised with like? So everyone wanted this storyline to happen, right? Like they were on your side with like both admin
Yeah.
decisions. Like it was 4K. Like they should have gone to you. But so with
Mm.
that said, were you surprised with like the amount of hatred and negative comments that come off the back of that?
Uh, yeah, I'm surprised because, like you say, everybody that then tweeted like, this is bullshit, or this is unfair, or how lucky can you be, or all these types of tweets. Those people, not even a day earlier, the evening before, were all like, 22's been scammed out of an elite. They should be playing. Da, da, da. They should be getting the spot. So it was how quickly it flipped was like a little bit bizarre to me personally. Yeah, okay, that team that had the cheater quite clearly cheated another team out of an opportunity. Yeah, with the way that the bracket fell, if they weren't in it, the team, I can't remember the esports name. Apologies for not remembering them, but the whole conversation was maybe we should have a playoff match to, you know, take the elite spot. And for the record, our team would have done that. Like we
Yeah.
weren't, yeah, okay. I mean, you're not gonna say no to a position in the elite being given to you like that. But we weren't fighting either way for it. We would just let the admins make the decision, and we take whatever decision it is. Because at the end of the day, it's another chance of getting in the elite at this point. So if we had to had the playoff against this other team, we would have taken it. And okay, if we did make the elite via that way, GG's to the other team, and you carry on. But obviously, the admins felt like it was just too much to do. Um, and the organisations, I think I want to give props to, obviously, as an org owner, to the org that had that team under them. I think they're the ones that pushed the decision a little bit more. They went to face it and was like, we're not going to be competing under these circumstances. So, we think it's only fair that the team we beat takes our spot.
Yeah.
So fair play on their point. And I put a tweet out on our esports Twitter, talking to the other owners, and I was like, I think it's important to just put a note out there that, like, whilst we appreciate the support, and whilst we're like blessed to be in this position, we can't help but still acknowledge the fact that there have been teams cheated out of this chance. So I didn't like, the hatred towards the players. At the end of the day, like, you got to beat who's in front of you. If it wasn't for him cheating, we very, very, likely would have won that series and qualified the elite. It's the fact that they used both instances in their argument. It's like, well, the first one was completely out of control. We didn't even face the team that had,
Yeah.
the guy being racist. So nothing for us to do. But yeah, man, it was a wild, day or two to say the least. And then then we've actually got to play the elite and play some of these teams in there, bro. You know what I mean?
I mean, your group, you had Clutch Rain, Revived, Core Cat, MWIII, K2
Yeah.
Esports. You ended up going 0-5 in pool play. You did win a map, which shut down a bunch of memes.
Damn
Praise the
right we did,
Lord.
baby.
I mean, were you expecting anything more, honestly, from the roster? I mean,
Nah,
like, they've already secured £1,000, 2.5k
yeah.
pro points each. Like, it's the pro points wise, it's more than winning a 2k. So, like, that for them players and your brand for the rest of the year is massive. I mean,
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think certainly no expectation whatsoever on them doing anything, and that's not even in a disrespectful way. It's like, yes, we have confidence in them taking S&Ds, taking the controls, even taking hard points, but you've also got to look at it on the flip side of saying, right, they have not no, but they have little actual game time against some of these teams, because obviously the top 8 teams, they scrim each other all the time, so it's hard to maybe get those consistent scrims against these sort of teams. So you are playing like a level above you without having the practice against them, if that makes sense.
yeah.
So you can't put any expectation on it. Obviously, it's not ideal to, lose some of the maps we lost in the way we lost them. Yeah, the hate that we got for qualifying was only fueled by then some of the KDs that come out of it from the players. But you know, yeah, people are going to meme, but at the same time, mate, people that hating and people that meme, like, rather have that. Obviously, they're hating and they're memeing for a reason. We're in that position, right? And if we're in that position, we're doing something right. So, um, you can't be too, bitter about it. But we just tried to have fun. I think that was the message. It was just,
Yeah,
I mean, you saw from the orgs Twitter, we put up some FIFA bronze cards. We
it was
we were hoping for
banging. The meme you put out, quality.
yeah. We were hoping for a team of the week or two from some of the players if we'd won a series or two, but it wasn't meant to be. We got um, well 2/3 of like the best teams in Europe, um, and it wasn't pretty against some of them. But also, and I will die on my sword here with this. Watching the actual series, apart from the hard points, no one can tell me that we were not in it in the S&Ds and controls.
Yeah,
Yeah, we lost some of the series 3-0s, but like watching these S&D rounds and breaking these S&D rounds, you're like, these boys had like the strats they had, the execution of some of these strats was on par with these teams. You know what I mean? It wasn't 6-0s, 3-0s, 250, 60. It was, really close S&Ds, really close controls. And, if something goes a little bit different, you're going, you win a few more maps, you go in game 5, and at the end of the day, you're there competing. So, no, what can you say? No one else can hate. They're not there competing against them. So, you know,
you tell them,
hold
Deeks,
that,
mate. It's great
hold that.
analytics, great brand exposure. You'll take all the comments, but that, that was EU Elite Stage 1. We hope to see you in Stage 2. I want more storylines in the Elites this year. But
Yeah, we'll be back. We want to be back there for sure.
you've heard it here first. But segment 2, we've got the Modern Warfare 3 Katana Spring Open, and this is where things maybe start going a little bit more south. But we're going to get into that further down the road. You start the
Mhm.
weekend, winners round 1. You get a quick win over Redemption. Winners round 2. This is where it starts to get really
Oh my god.
interesting. You're on the main stage. The lads are being casted over by some of the best casters in the Call of Duty scene. You end
Yeah.
up losing it, map 5, round 11, to Annex Esports, Nathan Parker and co. Did you get to watch that match, Deeks?
I did, mate. I was watching it at home. Obviously, I wasn't at the
Yeah.
event, sadly. But I was watching it at home, and I don't know what it was like. I know what it was like in the venue. Obviously, the atmosphere everyone was saying was unreal. Probably, well, I'm not even saying probably. I'm saying definitely the best series of the entire event
Yeah.
in that venue. But just based off purely the storyline, you got Nathan obviously coming into it with a lot to prove. Um, we're obviously there was obviously a lot of eyes on us following the elite to do well and to beat these teams. Um, but watching it from home on my TV, soundbar on, like it was like I was watching, Optic Phase Champs final. Do you know what I mean? Just the obviously when it's your own team as well, you get into it. Um, but it's such a heartbreaker, man. I can't imagine what it was like for the players in the moment, but watching it at home, especially because the S&D we were like 5 rounds down,
Yeah.
and every round, I'm watching this S&D, I'm like, we're doing it, we're pulling it back. Come on, boys, one more round, and I'm fully getting into it, bro, at home, and such a heartbreaker. But I mean, to be fair, you can't say anything more but GG's to Annex and to Nathan, and you got to give those players their flowers for
Oh,
one beating a higher seeded team, beating a team they probably shouldn't on paper, but C doing it, under the lights with everybody watching. I mean, you clearly shown in the way they finished off the event that catapulted them, further down,
yeah.
the finish. So, um, obviously, bit of a gut punch for us having to go down to losers that early. We obviously not mapped out, but you could see our run if we beat the teams in front of us where we would have ended up. And you know, I think the expectation or the hope was that you get to top 4, you get to top 3, push towards the final, and I think everybody saw Noctum coming, being the clear favourites to get to the final. So the run that we might have had, hopefully would have seen us there. But then when you get into losers, bro, it's a different story.
Yeah, I mean, it's a movie. Like
So
the LR2 game was meant to be on the Saturday. Their heat didn't get played; had to be played on the Sunday
this is it.
morning. So now Sunday
Yeah.
morning, I mean, they've got so many games ready to get back to where they want to. LR2 they played Elmets on tour, which was Shaz and Co, and then they played
Yeah.
Team Ascension in LR3, beat them, and then LR4. So they're already guaranteed top 12, playing for top 8. They had V7 Esports, and I don't know how many games of V7 you've seen, but they were the most impressive team in that tournament for me, apart from Noctum. I thought they were going to go the entire way back to Grands, but they
They
didn't.
definitely looked it.
But yeah, I mean, and that series as well, that was still a best of 3 at that stage as well. Your lads went 1-0 up in the
That's,
hard point. They had no right
I know
winning,
that
if I remember rightly, like 100 points up. It
yeah,
got loud,
100.
Deeks.
It got loud, mate. I was at home all event, right? As soon as these series were finished, I was using the clips, using the photos. I was on the Twitter, like trying to, keep updates on there. And I'm watching these clips. I'm like, fucking come on, like, unreal. Um, yeah, I mean, ideally, and I don't know whether it was always planned to be best of 3. But you want like your later rounds of losers to go to a best of 5. I think that series deserved a best of 5. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
to lose it to lose it in the way we lost it was obviously hard to take. Um, one, because I think as a team, you probably looked at them have again felt that we were better on paper. But people, you see it so many times, not just on local lands, not just amateur lands, pro events, bro. Like even the bottom teams can catch fire on these, in these environments, on everybody on the same playing field. And that team obviously, they caught fire at the right moment. They were on, well, not just when they played us, but then you saw the run they made after us as well. The teams
yeah.
they knocked out after us. So
They played us as well,
yeah,
like winners round
mm,
2, and that was probably our closest game of
yeah.
the. Yeah, that was probably our closest game apart from Grand, to be
Yeah, a
honest.
game that you thought like, something could have gone slightly different there, and we lose a map or two, and
Yeah,
it becomes a really cagey series. So I mean, I'd like to have thought if it was best of 5, we would have taken the second hard point and probably the S&D, because again, our S&D was leading up to that pretty good, good position. But theirs, I think they were the best S&D team
they
or
were. I labelled it.
second best.
I think it was like LR. I think it might be when they played you lads. I was like, these lads aren't losing an S&D all day, and they didn't
No,
until they got to main stage, and then
yeah,
something. So it was just they look different on the main stage.
yeah.
It's a
They,
big
they
occasion, isn't it?
I think they went up too many rounds early on in this terminal S&D against
Yeah,
us, and again, you try to pull it back, but these things happen, bro. You're on LAN. Yeah, okay, you want a higher finish. You're a higher, we're obviously second seed going into the event. But you play some of these teams that haven't had the fortune of finishing certain places in 2Ks. They haven't got the pro points to get the seed in, and they're capable of causing an upset.
yeah. Well, I guess just that winners round 2 was the one that really done you. Because like you said, this was a game
Yeah,
that was a game that could have been an LR6, LR7 game. You know what I mean? It would have been a best of 5, but it's just, I guess, the winners round 2 really done your boys. But what was the vibe from the camp after a top 12 placement?
well, I rung the boys like, well, I think about 10 minutes after the series, and then again like another hour or two after. Spoke to Luto, um, sent a couple of the other players, some messages, and it was just, well done. At the end of the day, you've enjoyed your weekend, or enjoy the rest of your weekend from there on. Um, what can you say really when you lose? The mood is down. The expectation was a higher finish, so you're gutted. Um, and I think as well, sort of, the way you play as well, you sort of deserved a higher finish, but those things happen. And I think the lads that were with them, are the other owners, and we had a bit of an ensemble with us, as you probably saw, met them
Yeah,
all. We just had tried to have fun with it. Our owners had a series not long after that, which was pretty fun to see. So you know, we just tried to enjoy the rest of the weekend, bro, and make the most of it as we could. And it sounds like the lads had like a good night to sort of regain and try to sort of put it behind them. But yeah, things happen.
they do. There's hiccups in the road. But what I want to ask is someone who didn't attend the event in person, how did you find the
Mm.
event from a viewer standpoint?
Well, I sent a message to we've got like a group chat with loads of people in. I mean, a lot of people from Katana are have been part of 22 in the past and are still good friends. So people like Ant and Ryan, over at Katana, I sent them a message. I was like, "How's it going? Looks really well from the outside. Looks like it's running smoothly." From watching, like, the production, there was a couple of sound issues. I think that I was watching it, but throughout the day, I had parts of it on mute anyway, or
Yeah.
when I could sit down and watch a full series, I was watching a full series. I thought the main production run quite smoothly, and from obviously what I've heard since, I think the actual pit itself, that cage, the stations in there, I think that was a little bit delayed, but nothing major. I think it sounded like it was just some main stage problems that put a lot of it behind. But no, it generally looked like it's ran very smoothly from the outside. You didn't really notice much of any issues. It was only when, like, yeah, you're watching a main stage game and you're thinking, "Gosh, why is it not started yet?" When we was on main stage, I messaged my boys like, "What's going on? Why have we not started yet?" It's like, "Oh, we've got to do shaders, got to do
Yeah.
whatever." It's like, but it looked like it ran really well, and everyone was really positive about the venue, and obviously the Katana boys got a lot of love afterwards. It was definitely a success, and definitely will be at the next one. I 100% guarantee that.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I could ask some more questions around the Katana event, right? But I'm itching at the bit here to get into segment 3, right?
Yeah, man.
We've got big,
Go on.
big news. Big news coming. It's going to hit the timeline just before this episode drops. We're recording this a day before, but roster announcement, segment 3. Deeks, we know that
Yeah, man.
Powerhouse and Lewis went their separate ways to Zappy and Krull, or vice versa. The team split. Why?
Mhm. Well, I mean, first of all, teams do not stay together for this long. Very rarely, right? Um, and particularly after the elite as well, and the performance they had obviously at the elite. um, there was a lot of the boys come even closer together, really, and it was like, we are just four mates playing Call of Duty, trying to have some fun, trying to compete, and trying to make a bit of a splash. Um, then after the event, you know, clearly from what everyone was seeing, there was, a bit of a difference in the performance from the players. Zappy and Cruel having, a better event than Josh and Lewis, and uh, by far, do not mean that in any disrespectful way, because at the end of the day, that the team works how the team works.
Yeah.
Zappy gets the kills. Powerhouse doesn't necessarily, get the credit he deserves because the kills aren't there for him to get. He's doing some of the dirty work again. Lewis doing a lot of the dirty work, a lot of the bomb carrying, certain spots in hardpoint and SDs playing that isn't credited anywhere near enough. But you also still have to be honest and look at the performances, and you know everybody could see without even having to even talk to them about it that you got two players that are performing very consistently and very at a very high level, and the other two that have shown their moments and have clutched many occasions, and you know um, have performed very well on separate occasions, but perhaps not just doing it to a consistent
Yeah.
level. Um, so the decision was kind of, not easy, because it's at the end of the day, as they mentioned, the boys wanted to stick because they became so close, and um, what they had the point they got to with the pro points they have as a team, they could continue the
Huge.
rest of the season, probably finishing, you know, um, top 16, top 8 in the 2Ks, and pushing maybe for elite, and going to the next LAN, and doing decent on the next LAN again because they got a decent seed. But um, I think there's just an element of what if we had some different players? Why not maybe just give it a go? Um, and sounded like the players sort of made the decision. We didn't influence it. We didn't, if the team stuck, we were more than happy with that. If not, there was conversations that would need to be had, and they've been had now. So Zappy and Cruel have picked up two players, um, but by no means does that mean that Powerhouse and Luto are no longer with us. As you saw the tweet, they pick up two as well. You know, let's pick up two players each. Let's let's create a bit of a story here. Do you know what I mean? Let's just give it a go. Keep everyone's left absolutely in good, in good vibes. There's no bad blood at all. It's purely just comes down to Zappy and Cruel. perhaps have a slightly higher ceiling, um, and want to explore that, whilst Luto and Powerhouse have still the drive to play. So again, they pick up two. And do you know what, mate? I'm excited because we're going to see a completely different Lewis Luto. We're going to see a Luto unleashed, playing a role that maybe he hasn't been able to play under the team
Yeah.
that has been. And it lights a fire under both of them as well. That we've had discussions with them. We've made it clear that they are not team B. This is not a team A, team B situation. This is you two are our teams. Um, go out there and compete. We're going to do what we can for both of you, and let's see how the team performs. Maybe we'll see a 22v22
El
top
Clasico.
16 match. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Oh,
I'm excited, because I think the boys have done themselves insanely proud. They've done us as an org proud. We couldn't be happier with how the team have performed this season. Um, and look, we always said from day one. I may have mentioned, obviously, on our first thing, Luto and Zappi are players that have been with us for a while now,
long time.
and so there was always going to be a plan B, that if Zappi and Luto didn't team at the start of MW3, what would we do? How would we get Luto? How would we get him elevated into a challenger position? And fortunately for us, them two teamed together. They found Powerhouse and Cruel, and they've just had a bit of a fairy tale season so far, bro. But now again, leaving the team isn't a bad thing, because every player has pro points that's attractive for some other players. um, but they're in a position where they can sort of build a team around themselves, really, and put pieces around them to um, well, try and do even better. I'm generally so pleased with like both teams, how they're set up and how they're going to perform. I think we're going to see two teams, go at it for the rest of the season, bro.
Oh, I
I'm
mean,
excited.
I can't wait. I can't wait. So, right, you have teased us,
Go on then.
Deeks, for long enough.
Sorry, mate.
Zappy and
You want to know?
Cruel, who is their new two, man?
They have picked up Vega and Lampy as their two
Oh,
to run with. Um, Zappy and Vega have been friends for a while. I think that was like a natural player to bring in, and I mean Lampy was shooting at the land, bro. That boy, that boy is a nice player. Um, I think the way their pro points are set up, it puts the team in still a very strong
mm.
position seed wise. So yeah, that's going to be you know team A or team one.
What is the what
Um,
is the name dynamic? Has that been figured out yet? We can see like a sort of like amethyst and like emerald vibe that you do throughout your like lower division teams.
Yeah. So not as of right now, recording this, not 100% locked. The way it's currently set up is 22 esports and 22 amethyst, because Luto, Powerhouse, they instantly they took that purple bear and they took that brand in. That was their number one choice. So they will have, they'll be repping the purple bear that comes with the name amethyst, but and that was the thing. Like, we don't want to be calling them 22 Academy or anything like that. Like, they're
Yeah.
not an academy team. It's not. It's like I say, it's not Team A and Team B. It's both Team A. Um, it may even be a case that refer to them both as 22 esports, but um, you know, I think just to differentiate it, it'll be 22 esports and 22 amethyst. Um, if Zappy had his way, he'd be 22 emerald. He'd go back to his roots
So
and be 22 emerald.
are they going to be made to pick a name like an amethyst or like an emerald, like you say, or are they going to have the option to stay as the clean 22 esports? Because a lot might
Well,
perceive
no,
that as them as the main team.
well, this is it. I mean, naturally, you want 22 Esports to be the name of the team, right? That's the idea behind having a team under you. And obviously, with all the XP teams we've had in the past, there's been various names to differentiate, the kind of the amateur teams behind the main 22 Esports. It's still to be decided. I've still got to have chats with them, but um, I think they're quite happy to take on certainly that branded color scheme. The jerseys will be purple. There's going to be I mean, they've already got the hoodies. They wanted those hoodies already. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, still to be decided. I'm sure maybe on the tweet. I don't know how we're gonna word it exactly. But we want to make a point quite clearly that it isn't, main team and second team. So
Okay.
yeah, we'll see.
I like that. So let's get to the Amethyst roster. You said Amethyst, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. So
So if they're presuming they stay as that, they have picked up, which went down on the timeline a treat. I love this roster, bro. Powerhouse and Luto have picked up Azure or Az and Midge or Foz or Loz, should I say? Sorry.
fuck.
The two players that dumped them out at the Katana Lan have come on board, bro. I'm excited.
That's where they were. So this is my generally right. I told him before the series. I knew the Zappy team. I said, do not tell me this one.
Yeah.
Because I know that Sean and CJP were had been left in the lurch, and
Fuming.
this is what I was looking at it yesterday. I was like, where have they gone? Oh
Yeah.
my god, okay. And this, right? This is the beauty, right? That you said before that you're the position your players are in. Like,
Mm.
I mean, after season one of your first season competing, like they're in that much of a good position with these pro points they've earned from Boston and the elite that they can go into like that higher bracket of players now and physically pick who they want to a certain
Well, this is
regard,
it.
and that's a
I
stacked
think,
team. Well,
yeah, it's why it was important that we got Powerhouse and Luto in a call and was like, look, we don't want you guys going anywhere. We built a bond, we built this friendship, this family almost, with this team, the ride we've been on. Um, and we want to support them as much as we can. Um, so yeah, obviously, as we said to Lewis, you're unleashed a little bit. Try and especially when they put the tweet out. I mean, they had loads of obviously replies.
yeah,
And Powerhouse team with Az last season, so there's obviously a bit of chemistry there already. And I'm pretty sure Loz and Naz are duos anyway, and have been duos for a long time. So
yeah,
it's so far so good. Obviously, we're going to tweet the teams out, or have had to already tweet the teams out, and they could play one or two 2Ks. Well, there's two. They're back to back. I think
two,
this weekend. Yeah. So after two Ks, who knows what happens with the team? They might not gel. They might not play well. They might not, continue. Obviously, we hope they do. But I think generally both teams are. It's like we've taken one team, split them into two, but both teams are still just as good, if not even better than the core four that we had. Um, so yeah, so it wasn't a case of he was dropped, they were dropped. We wanted to move on and pick up two better players. None of that. It's just, naturally with the way that the team had, progressed, they went whoop, up, and there was a little dip, and some hard conversations was to be had because they generally were gutted. They don't want to leave, but at the same time, would you regret maybe not just exploring the other options just for the rest of the season?
yeah.
And then, worst case scenario, bro, the team returns, start of next COD or later this season. There's no, I wouldn't rule that out at all, either.
I mean,
Um,
I'm just sat here
so yeah,
smiling, Deeks, from the fact that
you
I
like
mean,
it, bro.
I mean, this is another storyline. I mean, we've seen the viral clip, right, of Shawnee getting up at Powerhouse, right,
Yeah.
and now
And he stole his
Powerhouse.
teammates.
I'm like, what is going on? Like, you can't make
Yeah,
this stuff up. Like, oh my god, oh, I love COD. It's
I know, bro.
incredible.
I know, bro.
Oh, I
But
love
you're
these teams, man. Fair
but
play,
you're
Diggs.
seeing it, bro. You're seeing it, aren't you? With Miami's teams, players scrambling like to get on. Oh, it's
Oh,
Pro Points is. I've said it
everything.
for a long time. It's a bit of a broken system, but it is everything when you're trying to compete. Um, but I generally believe Powerhouse and Luto are going to show everybody that they're not the two worst teams
Yeah,
on that main team. It's just that each player has to play a part in the team. Um, the way that Powerhouse played probably made Zappy, it put Zappy in a position to get the stats. Look the flashy player, and you've seen the arguments before, haven't you? With like the flank and people like Parasite. It's like it's the flashy players that get picked up, not the players that do the dirty work.
yeah.
Um, and massive props to Luto and Powerhouse for taking it on the chin, going right. It is what it is. Power has been around the scene for a long time, bro. He gets
He knows the
it.
game.
Um, you know, uh, Lewis has, he's new to this, so maybe he, came as a bit of a surprise. But at the same time, I think we've helped him light a fire under him. We're gonna see, the Lewis that we know is there, and we have seen already, but we're gonna see it on a different level, bro. I'm really excited.
I absolutely love it. I know we're both time sensitive. We've got the elite losers finals and grand finals today. So I've got one final question for you in this, right?
Yeah.
Two teams, right? Is that because double the benefit for two teams and double the brand exposure, or just because you love the players?
Because we love the players,
Yeah.
like 100%. Because they've become family. They've become so important to everything that 22 is about. And it would be wrong for us to, especially after the first episode I did with you, and what we've always said we're about is giving these players an opportunity to just go, okay, Zappy and Crawl looking for two, Josh, Powerhouse and Lewis. Sorry, but we're going to move on with them. It wouldn't have felt right. It would have felt a little bit. It would have felt fake, and that's not what we are, bro. We're here to give these players opportunities. I'm excited for the 4 new players that we're going to have come in and be a part of 22, because they're going to see what we're about. Obviously repping us. Obviously, it does come with benefits. You see 2 teams make runs. You especially when potentially there'll be a Classico, in one of these 2Ks. And if one team does insanely well and the other team just does okay, that's fine. They're just there to compete and do what they absolutely can. And you know, I'm not going to put any pressure on either team to out. It's not a case of one team outperforming the other. We focus on that. We give them both our time and effort. It's going to be harder on the socials, following 2 teams. I'll say that it's tough just keeping up with one team, but
Yeah, there's a lot
yeah,
going on at one time, and they might be playing at the same time many occasions.
yeah.
So a
So
good headache.
good headache to have. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But again, it's always a case of giving it a go, not being afraid to let people know that that's what we're doing. And yeah, I mean, may the best team win. You know what I mean?
We'll see. We'll be back
We'll
in a
leave it like
couple of
that.
months for
Yeah,
another one. We'll have the double squad review episode. But I
yeah.
mean,
We'll see.
we hope everyone likes that announcement. We're just gonna hit the outro. So please
Yeah, man.
go follow all the 22 Esports socials. Make sure you like that announcement post that will come out today when we release this video. Go check out all of Deeks' socials, all of the players' socials. If you listen on Spotify, please hit the review. If you're watching on YouTube, then hit that subscribe button. And I mean, until next time, we will see you all
Next
then.
time, mate.
Deeks, it's been a pleasure, my man, as ever. Thank you so
See you
much.
again, brother. No, I appreciate it, man. Thank you.